The city slept under a fragile calm, unaware that the night sky would soon turn against them. In the distance, a low, menacing hum grew steadily louder, the unmistakable sound of engines slicing through darkness. Windows trembled, the air thickened with tension, and an eerie glow painted the clouds in shades of red and orange. Families huddled together in homes, clutching children and praying silently, hearts pounding with fear. No one knew exactly what was coming, only that it would change everything. The first bombs fell with a terrifying roar, shaking streets, collapsing buildings, and igniting fires that spread like wildfire. Screams pierced the smoke-filled night, mingling with the thunder of destruction above. Every flash in the sky brought new questions. Will we survive this night? Will our homes stand? Will dawn ever come? Panic rippled through the streets as people ran blindly, unsure which path led to safety. Amid the chaos, moments of courage emerged, neighbors dragging strangers from rubble, a mother shielding her child beneath a collapsing roof, firefighters charging into flames. Yet even heroism seemed fragile against the relentless power raining from above. The night was no longer ordinary, it had become a trial of survival. It was a night when fear, courage, and despair collided in the most brutal way imaginable. And as the sky burned overhead, the city and its people faced a question that would haunt them forever: could anyone survive the night the sky caught fire? World War II did not erupt overnight. It was born from political tension, ambition, and unresolved grievances from the First World War. Germany, humiliated by the Treaty of Versailles, was left economically shattered and nationally resentful. A dictator rose, promising revenge, pride, and dominance, exploiting fear and desperation to rally a nation. Meanwhile, across Asia, Japan sought empire and resources, aggressively expanding into neighboring territories. Europe and Asia became chessboards of strategy, alliances, and betrayal, while ordinary civilians watched anxiously as borders shifted and warnings went unheeded. Cities and industries became prime targets, not just to win battles but to break the spirit of entire populations. Nations mobilized, armies prepared, and skies filled with planes designed for destruction. What began as political ambition soon became a conflict where millions of lives would hang in the balance. Civilian populations, previously distant from battles, were now in the crosshairs. Air raids, rationing, and forced evacuations turned daily life into a struggle for survival. The night the sky caught fire was part of this greater tragedy, a single night that revealed the terrifying reach of war. It was a war not only fought by soldiers but endured by ordinary men, women, and children. Fear, uncertainty, and suffering became constants. The question on everyone's minds was simple but profound: how could a war, sparked by ambition and politics, descend into such widespread destruction? And as the first bombs fell, it became painfully clear that survival would be no simple task. The first bombs tore through the night with a deafening roar, shattering any remaining sense of normalcy. Streets that once bustled with life were instantly transformed into corridors of fear and chaos. Windows exploded, walls crumbled, and fires spread uncontrollably, consuming everything in their path. Families fled blindly, clutching children, pets, and whatever belongings they could carry. Shelters overflowed, hospitals became makeshift triage centers, and every corner of the city was touched by panic. The hum of engines above was a cruel countdown to destruction, each flash of fire in the sky signaling another strike. Yet amid the devastation, human courage emerged in stark contrast to the destruction. Neighbors dragged strangers from rubble, mothers shielded their children beneath collapsing roofs, and firefighters rushed into infernos without hesitation. Each life saved became a small victory against the overwhelming terror. The city itself seemed to writhe under the assault, streets glowing red from fire, smoke thick enough to choke, and debris littering every path. No one knew where the next bomb would fall or who would be taken. Fear was constant, but so was determination. People adapted quickly, finding temporary shelters, sharing food, and helping one another survive. The first raids were not just military operations, they were psychological warfare, designed to break the will of the people. Yet, in the face of unimaginable horror, resilience persisted. The night sky was ablaze, but the human spirit refused to extinguish, lighting a path through darkness and chaos. As the bombing raids intensified, the city became a battlefield not only of destruction but of strategy. Military leaders made critical decisions from distant command centers, choosing targets with calculated precision. Factories that produced weapons, bridges that carried troops, and power stations that fueled the city were all marked for destruction. Yet civilian neighborhoods were often caught in the crossfire, casualties mounting with each mission. Every strike was a turning point, shifting the balance of war while testing the endurance of those trapped below. Plans were drawn to cripple enemy resources, but the human cost was staggering. Streets became rivers of rubble, and families were uprooted overnight. Ordinary people learned to anticipate the whine of approaching planes, the distant flash of bombs, and the eerie pattern of explosions that dictated where danger would fall next. In this chaos, the war's larger battles played out not only on distant fronts but over the heads of civilians, who faced the relentless force of air raids. Each decision by military strategists had far-reaching consequences, shaping survival, loss, and resistance. Yet amid destruction, humanity persisted. Neighbors rescued the injured, firefighters battled the flames, and communities adapted to survive. These turning points were not just about tactical advantage, they highlighted the clash between strategy and human suffering. The night the sky caught fire was a vivid reminder that in total war, the fates of cities and citizens were entwined with decisions made far from the front lines, where human lives often became collateral in the pursuit of victory. Every moment became a choice between life and death. In the midst of roaring explosions and collapsing buildings, ordinary citizens were forced to make impossible decisions. Should they flee into the unknown streets or hide in fragile shelters? Should they risk their lives to help a neighbor, or save themselves and their families first? Courage emerged in the smallest gestures. A mother shielded her child beneath falling beams, a doctor tended to the injured in the chaos of ruined hospitals, and a stranger braved the smoke to pull an unconscious man from the debris. Each act of bravery was a defiance of fear, a statement that humanity could endure even amid destruction. Yet tragedy was unavoidable. Families were torn apart, homes reduced to ashes, and entire neighborhoods vanished in seconds. The relentless bombing spared no one, leaving grief and shock in its wake. Every decision carried weighty consequences, shaping who survived and who would be lost to history. Ordinary citizens became heroes by necessity, their stories of selflessness and fear intertwining as the city burned. The night tested the limits of human endurance, exposing the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit. Even in the face of overwhelming terror, people acted, helped, and persevered, creating a tapestry of courage woven through tragedy. The bombing was more than destruction, it was a crucible that revealed the depth of human resilience, and the choices made that night would echo for years to come. The human cost of the bombings was staggering. Streets became rivers of smoke and ash, homes were reduced to rubble, and the cries of the injured and bereaved filled the night. Children wandered through debris, calling for parents who were gone, while the elderly struggled to navigate streets now unrecognizable. Fear, grief, and uncertainty became constants, pressing on every heart. Yet even amid this horror, the resilience of the human spirit shone through. Neighbors shared what little food they had, offered shelter to strangers, and comforted those crushed by loss. Small acts of kindness became lifelines, fragile sparks of hope in a city burning around them. Hospitals, overwhelmed and understaffed, continued to treat the wounded with tireless dedication. Communities adapted, learning to navigate bombed-out streets and improvising solutions for survival. The night sky, ablaze with destruction, was a stark contrast to the quiet courage emerging on the ground. Every rescue, every act of compassion, was a defiance of despair. In the midst of devastation, humanity endured. People discovered inner strength they had never known, confronting fear with bravery and loss with determination. The bombing left scars, both visible and invisible, but it also revealed the capacity for endurance, empathy, and hope. The city was tested in every possible way, yet the spirit of its people refused to be extinguished. Even when the sky caught fire, the resilience of ordinary citizens became a beacon, guiding them through darkness and tragedy. The bombings escalated into firestorms that consumed entire districts with terrifying speed. Streets became molten rivers of flame, buildings collapsed into themselves, and smoke blotted out the stars. Air raid sirens wailed continuously, a grim soundtrack to the chaos unfolding below. Civilians ran blindly through debris-strewn avenues, desperate to find safety, while others were trapped in collapsing homes or shelters overwhelmed by crowds. The scale of destruction was unimaginable. Entire neighborhoods vanished in minutes, leaving nothing but ash and twisted metal. Emergency responders, firefighters, doctors, and volunteers risked everything to save lives, battling flames that seemed almost alive. Above it all, the relentless drone of bombers served as a cruel reminder that danger could strike anywhere, at any moment. Ordinary citizens were forced into extraordinary acts of survival, from guiding children through smoke-choked streets to rescuing strangers buried beneath rubble. The city, once vibrant, had become a landscape of fear and destruction, where each step could be the last. Yet amid the devastation, glimmers of humanity persisted. Neighbors helped each other, medical staff worked tirelessly, and families clung to one another, refusing to let despair fully take hold. The firestorms were more than tactical strikes, they were tests of endurance, courage, and community. The night sky had become a furnace, but even in its terrifying blaze, human spirit persisted, defiant, unbroken, and fiercely determined to survive. Amid the chaos and destruction, a new form of resistance began to emerge. Civilians, no longer mere bystanders, organized themselves to endure the relentless bombing campaigns. Communities established early warning networks, shared information about safer routes, and coordinated evacuation plans to protect as many lives as possible. Makeshift shelters were expanded, hospitals adapted to treat the overwhelming influx of casualties, and volunteers risked everything to support those in desperate need. These efforts marked a turning point. While the enemy struck from above, the city below refused to collapse entirely. Small victories became significant, saving lives, maintaining morale, and keeping the human spirit alive in the face of overwhelming destruction. Ordinary people discovered courage, resourcefulness, and unity they never realized they possessed. Even children played roles, carrying messages, guiding neighbors, and helping in shelters. Every act of organization and cooperation became a lifeline, allowing citizens to survive moments that might have otherwise been fatal. Military strategists may have planned to break the will of the city, but the resilience of its inhabitants proved formidable. The skies were still dangerous, the firestorms still devastating, yet through determination and ingenuity, the population adapted. In these desperate circumstances, humanity learned to fight back in ways the enemy could not anticipate. The city was battered but not broken. Its people had found strength in unity, and even under the shadow of bombs, they forged a path of resistance, proving that courage, organization, and hope could survive the night the sky caught fire. When the bombing finally ceased, the city emerged from the smoke and flames into a new reality. Streets were unrecognizable, buildings reduced to rubble, and the air still heavy with the scent of fire. Survivors slowly emerged from shelters, eyes wide with shock, hearts heavy with grief. Families mourned lost loved ones, neighbors counted the missing, and children wandered through a landscape forever changed. Yet amid the devastation, life persisted. People began the painstaking task of rebuilding, clearing debris, and helping one another recover. The horrors of the night left scars, both visible and invisible, but they also revealed the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Reflection brought lessons about the cost of war, the fragility of life, and the importance of community in times of crisis. The night the sky caught fire became a symbol of both suffering and survival. Ordinary citizens, who had been thrust into extraordinary circumstances, discovered courage, hope, and strength they never knew they possessed. Their endurance became a testament to human resilience and a reminder that even in the darkest hours, life finds a way to continue. The city survived, but the memory of that night remained etched in the hearts of its people, a reminder of loss, courage, and the price of conflict. History would remember the destruction, but it would also honor the determination of those who survived, proving that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, humanity could endure. History is not just a record of events, it is a teacher, and the night the sky caught fire offers lessons that resonate across generations. The bombing campaigns of World War II were catastrophic, leaving cities in ruins and families shattered, yet they also revealed the depths of human courage and resilience. Ordinary people, caught in the crossfire of global ambitions, demonstrated extraordinary strength, compassion, and ingenuity. Remembering their struggles helps us understand the true cost of war, not just in strategic victories or losses, but in the human lives forever altered. Education about these events ensures that the sacrifices, suffering, and heroism are not forgotten. It teaches empathy, critical thinking, and the value of peace, reminding us that unchecked ambition and aggression can devastate entire societies. The Night the Sky Caught Fire serves as a cautionary tale and a source of inspiration. It shows both the horrors of conflict and the unbreakable spirit of those who endure it. By reflecting on the past, we honor the memory of civilians and soldiers alike, learn from mistakes, and strive to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The legacy of survival, courage, and resilience is a guiding light, emphasizing that even in moments of darkness, humanity can persevere. Remembering, educating, and sharing these stories ensures that history shapes a better tomorrow, where lessons learned from fire, loss, and resilience inspire generations to value peace, community, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Thanks for watching.